how is the algorithm assigning value to the quest? How does it actually know how hard something is? Do I just make something worth 1 million points and make the quest get 1 million points so that it like boosts it? How much weight does price have? If I used this example the other day, and when Austin and I were chatting, it's like, so if I just make a $50 white t-shirt, like, is that now a legendary white t-shirt?
Give me the legendary white t-shirt, please.
Austin wants the legendary white t-shirt.
I want the legendary white t-shirt.
Well, I'll make for you. I'll make the $100,000 ultra rare.
Yeah,
legendary.
perfect. Yeah.
Welcome back to the Worlds Beyond podcast. My name's Don Kianian.
I am Benjamin Fiener.
And today we are joined by Austin Lewis. Austin, introduce yourself.
Hey guys, Austin Lewis, also known as Meta Jesus to some people.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're so excited to have you. We got a lot of great stuff to talk about today. But before we get into that, Ben, I've noticed you've got a nifty pair of specs on your face over there.
Yeah. These are the Meta Ray-Ban displays. I'm loving them so far. I had to wait 1.5 months to get them because I have prescription, but they nailed the prescription. They're better than my analog glasses. So I really love them. And despite them saying that they have a 4-hour battery life, or less, right? The reality is that like I'm usually just using them as glasses. It comes with the neural band, and that lasts all day, no matter what. But if I'm not like actively using these all day, they'll last through the end of the workday. I might maybe in the evening while I'm cooking dinner or something, I'll take them out, give them a little extra boost or a charge, but they've been great. For me, wearable technology is all about reducing screen time. That's what I like about the Apple Watch is that like I get a notification, which I'm very militant about keeping very, very few apps can send notifications to my watch. But the ones that do are important. And then I basically review the notification. And if it's important, I take out my phone. I inevitably get distracted and go on Reddit or or play a game or what have you. But most of the time I can look at it, I acknowledge it, and I go back to real life. And so the glasses have been sort of one step further. They don't have every app integration yet. Like I'd love to have Discord in here because that's what we use at work. But other than that, I get Messenger notifications. I will say like one limitation is that they're not totally integrated with Messenger, so I can get and reply, but group messages don't work correctly. You have to like when you reply to someone in a group message, just replies to them as an individual. Apple has not chosen to do the iPhone integration yet, or Meta hasn't worked that out. But as far as technology goes, it's great. It's really intuitive. I tap my fingers, the screen is up, nobody else can see it. The audio is quite good. The video quality is great.
And with the neural band, how good is it like at detecting the gestures and the movements that you need to do to control things? Are you finding that it's still early days for that kind of user interface, or have they kind of nailed it? Super intuitive,
very easy, nailed it. I wouldn't be surprised if the next headset comes out with a pair of these rather than controllers.
Interesting. Austin, have you had a chance to take a look at any of the Meta Ray-Ban's displays or any of these types of things yet?
Yeah, my friend Michael flew over here and he had a pair of them and I gave him a shot. And, they were cool, but I feel like I'd have a hard time like using it every day, and like not feeling like it's like in the way. Did you guys ever see the show Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, by the way?
Like Cookie, right?
Yeah. Every time he'd like sweat real hard and they would like fry him. I always thought that was funny, and I was like, I always wanted to try them, and I'm glad I did and didn't buy them first because like they're cool. They're just like not quite to the point where I'm like, oh, I definitely rock these on like a daily basis. Mm-hmm. It's like I already feel like I have enough pinging and messages and this and that. It's like the last thing I want is like that on my face at the moment, so it's like in the future maybe when they get some more improvements. So.
Austin and I are very different, have very different habitats. I'm a city boy. and Austin is not. So
Yeah, like
that totally
I
tracks.
I like nature, my peace, and yeah.
Well, on the subject of nature, Ben, you guys recently released Frogs in the kind of oeuvre of the plants and bugs games that you guys have been putting out, right?
That's right. Yeah. So we just released Frogs. Frogs is a really cute, cozy, sort of like blind box mechanic style game where you're essentially in these little gotcha capsules. Tadpoles are raining down from the sky. You're running around, you're grabbing them, and you're just trying to collect all the rare frogs. You've got some stats you can upgrade, and we're just rolling out features at a really rapid rate. We just released our harvest update, so we now have special eggs. We have a turkey frog, which is an abomination. That's a way to jump scare yourself in the morning. But then we have like really cute, fun ones. My favorite that I have yet to actually find in the game yet, but it's the frog-a-lotl, half frog, half axolotl. It's cute. It's fun. So that's our competition world, and we're still waiting to hear back. So my theory is that they're going to wait until tomorrow, which is a Friday, so that inevitably we can cool off after the announcement. But I know Austin also submitted a game.
Yeah, we made a Kart Clash Racing. It was kind of a spin-off on another game we were working on. We're pretty excited about it. We didn't get enough polish into it as we were hoping, but it's still pretty decent. But man, there was a lot of good submissions this competition. There was a lot of people who entered. So I think either way, there'll be a lot of cool stuff to see. So I'm pretty excited about that, just getting to jump into more when I have some more time and just see what else everybody made. So
one of the requirements for this competition that was not standard in previous competitions is that you had to include some sort of generative AI.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we wound up used an AI skybox. We have one AI frog, which the prompt was, give us a frog that looks like it was designed by AI. It was grotesquely hilarious. It's got a frog face on its butt, and the lids aren't attached properly.
Yeah.
It's got every foot has a different number of toes, but it's very funny. And we use a little bit, on the back end for coding, just to speed that process up a little bit. What did you guys wind up?
For sounds mostly, and then I made a Route 66 sign.
Nice.
To be fair, I was really scraping to try to find things to use it for because we were pretty well set.
Right.
And then we're like, oh wait, we forgot about this requirement. So yeah, it was kind of like, okay, we'll come up with 4 sounds and the sign, and hopefully that's enough. So.
Yeah, totally agree. I wound up actually doing a lot of the audio mixing myself, and it's because we originally were like, oh, well, we'll just use AI for some of the sounds, and I just could not get it to make something that I liked. So I actually wound up spending $300 on a stock sound subscription and pulling those out and mixing them with risers with ribbits and sounds and stuff like that. I feel like the audio turned out really well in that world, but. It was not AI generated, and to be perfectly honest, we're swapping the skybox out today.
Well, I'll say, just hearing you talking about using quote custom audio in these worlds is already a huge step above, at least from when I was building stuff in Horizon Worlds. Right? I remember you were stuck with the what was in the sound box. Little
that's
gizmo,
right.
and you recorded it with your voice, and that's kind of what you had. But me as a sound designer, music producer, I was always how do I get my music into my worlds? Right? There's an easier path for that, or for these AI.
Now you just hit the import button.
Yeah,
you just hit the import button. Or you give the AI all of your music, Don, and then you say, AI, make me music that sounds like Don's music.
Yeah, exactly. Love it. Love to hear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Austin, tell us a little bit more about Kart Clash Racing. Kind of what went into building this game, and you said you wish you had a little bit more time to polish it and stuff. But it sounds like you had a solid basis for this game based on another game you had been working on. Is that right?
Yeah, so we were working on a game called Kart Clash, which is just a straight kind of hybrid between like Mario Kart battle modes and Twisted Metal. So that's what we're like actually really excited about, and that's really really polished. And that's just a straight like PvP arena battler using like fast drifting cars. You're picking up abilities. You're using a spring loaded boxing glove and blowing each other up, and so it's like it's pretty hilarious and silly. And we were like, we don't have much time. This competition is pretty short. What can we make that's like different enough, but we can kind of utilize some of these things to kind of make it easy? And so we're like, oh, let's just make a racing game. We can tie it in later. It'll be fantastic. So yeah, it's worked out. It's just, it still needs some work before I feel like real proud to like really push it out there, just because Kart Clash itself is so good. I don't want it to like detract from it, and we're releasing Kart Clash on either tomorrow or Monday. So we'll do that first and then we'll get to the racing after. So
nice. That sounds exciting. Are you feeling confident? You sitting on pins and needles a little bit, or how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, I feel really good about it. This is probably the best I've felt about a game since I've made my first one, Pirate's Life. Nice. Just as far as like initial confidence, it's probably the most polished game we've made, honestly. It feels the best. There's just so much like talent and heart that went into this one. Yeah, I'm really, really excited about it. And there's so much expansion opportunity. And I think it'll do exceptionally well on mobile. It's like the first game that we've made that's actually really feels really great on mobile, and not was like a VR focus first. But we secretly did make it VR during the process. So that'll release Monday as well. So we're really excited about it. Yeah.
Yeah. And did you, what were some of the things that you took with you from like designing your first game into designing Kart Clash that like you kept in mind when you were building it?
Oh boy, I think it'd be hard to put it as one just because I had zero experience whatsoever before. Mm-hmm. So pretty much everything I've learned been learned along the way, that I've carried pieces from that everywhere and from so many different places of inspiration. But probably the biggest thing was just like getting really good at just sitting down and being like, is this actually really, really fun? Like, that's the most important thing. Everything else comes after. Like, you can sit there, you can over-engineer systems, progression, all these other things. But if the initial just like, I'm having fun, I keep finding myself just playing this mechanic, having fun, then like, yeah, like that's everything to start. And then you get to engineer all the systems on top of that. So that's the biggest thing.
Tell us a little bit about your Pirate's Life game that you had mentioned also. Like, what went into that game, and have you been working on updating that for mobile as well, or how does that look?
No, that was like that game. There was a lot of people on that game. I'm very grateful for everybody that contributed to that one, especially Mr. Joseph Brancic. He was in the trenches with me there and really taught me a lot to get started. And he did so much of the art, and he really set me on this journey. If I were to credit like one person specifically, we've spent probably 4 months on that world. We asked a lot of different people for help. We, took a bunch of scripts, of things that we didn't know how to do, and we tried to mash them together just to get things to work. And I mean, it's held together with like duct tape, man. Like, we were using PPBs on update. Like, it was terrible. There was a lot of things that were wrong about it. But it was really popular when it released. It was buggy, but it was like the first open world game with like an item store with like items that gave you abilities and stuff. So it was like really cool, like in that regard of how different like playstyles everybody could have in like this open world RPG. But as far as making it mobile friendly, like, no, we might as well just start from scratch. Like, it is just so deep. We haven't even thought about it. We haven't really been updating it just because so much of it is it's so far behind. We would rather make a new game on the new studio. So
one of the games that we were talking about in our last episode that we definitely we think will probably end up getting ported over to the studio is Spin the Bottle. So is that kind of, on the horizon, you think, or what do you think?
We'll see. Obviously, it has to be eventually. It's a matter of when. It's not a super complex game, but we have so many systems and things integrated in it and things that people work for. And it's a matter of how all that transfer. Will people be able to take everything that they own over to the new one? So there's a lot. It might be better to make a Spin the Bottle 2. Okay. We'll see, but we're definitely looking forward to it, especially with shaders and all the things we want to do with it. And like, with the increased player concurrency, we'll be able to do our own like custom matchmaking and get more in depth with everything and make the first time user experience way better. And, maybe make like separate mobile and VR instances within the same instance. Just little quality of life things that would help a ton. So we're looking forward to it, but we'll see. So we still got to get our hands on it. So,
and we were talking about player concurrency and capacity improvements on our last episode, right? And like how a boost in 5x player capacity or concurrency, right, Ben? Like doesn't just necessarily mean 5 times more players in your world. It could mean like a 5 times bigger world, right, for the same number of players, right? So, besides the stuff for spin the bottle and all that, has that kind of player capacity concurrency boost sparked any ideas for you for upgrading games or new games or anything like that?
Yeah. Well, speaking of Pirate's Life, yes. Yeah. Right. I mean, that world could be so much bigger already just with like using TriMesh, and so much more optimized. Like there's so much we could do in the new studio with Pirate's Life. And we could make it like an actual open world RPG and go crazy with it. And like what I imagined originally could actually come to life now with like actual quest lines and kind of actual role play and clans. And there's so much we could do now. So we're definitely kind of leaning that way. But obviously a game that big is a lot of risk as well. So hopefully if we could get funding for it, maybe then it would be for sure go,
Yeah.
So
Ben also had mentioned, that you were doing some updates to another one of your games, I think.
Yeah, it was Battle Ball.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, we rethemed it to Ninja Ball. It's a little bit more click-worthy for the target demographic. But yeah, it's going. We still got some stuff left to do, some fine-tuning and some little things to implement. It's been a little bit slower than we had hoped, but it's getting there. Hopefully we can get it in a good state before the holidays, before the big rush. But yeah, it's still got a lot of stuff to be desired to get us to the state that we want it to be in. But it's a fun game. It's a really cool little concept. It's had a lot of different inspirations put into it. And it's kind of the same thing of like spin with all these funny items and swords and hammers and stuff. These teenagers just really latch onto them. And, it's got a pretty good community. So hopefully we can get it in a really good state.
Austin and I are both super involved on the platform, super involved as creators. We keep up to date on a lot of features. Number one, I think one of the things we wanted to talk about was the new clothing rating feature. Essentially, for those who don't know, avatar items are now auto-assigned a rarity. I'll preface this by saying I'm of the opinion that this new feature is, I'm going to be generous here and say, poorly thought out. Austin disagrees and is very excited about it. And we were talking about it the other day, and I thought he made some good points. So we will reenact that conversation today as if we're having it for the first time. Yeah. And then the other thing, and this is something that we didn't talking about beforehand, I'm curious to get your opinions on, they just released into beta these new demographics tools and attributions. And, before we really didn't have a whole lot of data about who was playing our games, where it was coming from. Now we know where it's coming from. And Austin is, Spin the Bottle, the most popular game on the platform for over a year. I know that you've tried to do some marketing deals with people in the past, but it's been very difficult because it's hard to measure success. So before we dive into like the clothing discussion, I guess I'm just really curious, now that we can actually get numbers, right? Like I can see exactly how many people clicked through. So have you been thinking about that? I know that like for a while you sort of put a pause on that stuff because it was just such a pain. Are you thinking about opening up the doors again?
Only if the bonus structure changes.
Only if the bonus structure changes.
Yeah, I think right now, like, sure, I could, and I can track it, which is really nice to see, especially helpful with my games. And like sometimes I'll promote some of my team members' independent games. The issue is, we're still sharing one big pot for bonuses. So any traffic I'm taken away from me is, so it's kind of like it's kind of a wash unless I charge enough. And at that rate, people don't really necessarily want to pay. So we'll see. I'll explore it more. It hasn't been on my radar. I'd rather just focus all my energy on improving our stuff right now than trying to find other avenues of revenue at the moment. So,
was there anything that you found surprising when you got access to some of these like demographics?
Yeah. How many impressions were on Facebook? That was interesting. I was like, man, I really counted Facebook out, thinking it was kind of all, older demographic.
Yeah.
But like, I'm getting a decent amount of clicks from there. So I need to start converting them to the Horizon app. And they just released something actually the other day, like a API for that as well, where you can track if they're came from Facebook and download the app and then reward them. So I need to implement that and test that. But yeah, it was really interesting. And then how much of it was just from the Horizon feed as well.
I've been getting like 30, like that was also surprising. But for Frogs, which is, not seeing nearly as much traffic, doesn't have the visibility, I'm still getting 35% of my traffic from Facebook.
Yeah.
Oh, next to nothing from Instagram.
Yeah.
And then like the rest is coming from VR and the feed. Have you been, this is something that like I noticed probably about a week ago. I'm seeing a lot of what looked to be temporary. It's like dancing jellyfish, 1, 2, 3, 4, lots of usernames like that, that are basically coming in. They don't move from spawn. They coin out, they go AFK and then they disappear. I've been seeing that a lot lately, and that, as I noticed about the same time that I saw that spike in Facebook usership.
Oh, interesting. See, I've been noticing a lot of names like that as well, but they're like actually on my leaderboards.
Some of them are on my leaderboards.
So yeah, so those usernames are from Facebook users that like don't have an account then?
I suspect that they're like auto-generated. I don't know for sure, but
that is interesting because you'd think that if these are coming from Facebook, they have to be like logged in some capacity, right? So they would, in theory, need to be authenticated some way. But
well, I mean, it's like how you have an Instagram account and you have a Facebook account, right?
Right.
So it's like your Meta Horizon account. If you don't have a Meta Horizon account, you need some sort of temp account there, and I'm sure they let you update your username, but they.
So is your theory that maybe that these are Facebook users that don't have a Meta Horizons account yet, and this is like their first entry into Horizon, and it's just creating a temporary like username for them?
Yeah, I mean, like my feeling is they're clicking in and then they didn't realize that it was going to a game, or it's like not actually connecting them for some reason. I've just seen some weird behavior, but that's more in the weeds than I think I. Just curious if you're seeing any similar behaviors. Yeah, so let's talk about clothing.
Yeah.
So what they've done is your avatar items, which there are basically like 3 types of avatar items right now. There is fantastical avatars, which are essentially meta only can make those. Those are like crazy characters. They have like a crow warlock one for Halloween that's really cool. They have like, you can be like a gummy bear person. Those are typically like locked. Those are locked behind Meta's gate. Then I would classify what users are able to create is basically 2 tiers of clothing. AI generated, where basically you just like, I think you pay a nominal monthly fee and you can AI generate whatever patterns or clothes you want in your clothes. And sometimes they're okay, sometimes they're not. Oftentimes they're not, in my opinion. And then there is like actual user created, clothing where users create the textures for. Meta basically has a set of clothes that you can pull out and get the UV map for and create your own texture, and then you can sell those in your worlds. And you can start with AI and work on top of that, or you can just do your own thing from scratch. It's been quite popular. It's like actually pretty easy to make clothing items in Horizon. It's not something that I've done, but a lot of my team does. I know like Immortal does it for fun, like to relax.
Definitely played around. Yeah. Yeah.
So now for users, so this is not for fantastical avatars, though I wouldn't be surprised if they all got like legendary ratings. But essentially, they have similar to like Fortnite or League of Legends. Now, avatar items have ratings. What they have told us is so these ratings are auto-generated. That it's not reviewed by a person. It's done by some algorithm. The impacts are how easy is it to get? Does it have attributes? And what's the price? And so attributes are essentially like code you can attach to avatar items, and it might be something like give you a flight ability or give you a super jump or something like that. If your world it does well enough, you can give away via quests, these avatar items or a couple of them. Where I am getting hung up is when you look at games like Fortnite and League of Legends, right? They have like very distinctive tiers, right? So it's like, and when you get, first of all, it's not player generated, right? These are things that are put out by the company that are created by the artists. It's like, common is like, maybe that's just like a reskin, like a recolor. You go up to the next level. Okay, maybe there's some detail work so that's different. You go up to the next level. All right, it's like a full reskin of the character. Then you go up another level and it's like, okay, now there's some special effects. Their abilities have, are reskinned and stuff like that. And there's very clear delineations between it as you go up the ranks. And like even like pure, like these are all purely cosmetic. So for me, it's like, okay, well, how is the algorithm assigning value to the quest? How does it actually know how hard something is? Do I just make something worth 1 million points and make the quest get 1 million points so that it like boosts it? How much weight does price have? If I used this example the other day, and when Austin and I were chatting, it's like, so if I just make a $50 white t-shirt, like, is that now a legendary white t-shirt?
Give me the legendary white t-shirt, please.
Austin wants the legendary white t-shirt.
I want the legendary white t-shirt.
Well, I'll make for you. I'll make the $100,000 ultra rare.
Yeah,
legendary.
perfect. Yeah.
It's just, it seems very arbitrary, and it seems like the value isn't there. It feels to me anti-consumer ratings. So I know that you, Austin, you have ratings of the different gun skins in Spin the Bottle, but like you rate the guns certain rarities for a reason, right? It's not arbitrary. Like you have a system for doing that.
Yes, of course. That doesn't mean that they're always like perfect in that way. But I will say with like clothing specifically, right? In the real world, anybody can go out and sell a t-shirt for $100. And that's like a luxury brand, right? But the market still determines like, is somebody going to buy it? Like somebody still has to make the decision no matter the price, like branding is still important. So it's like, I hate to restrict people in that regard of like, you're trying to build like a cool brand and maybe everybody wants this brand and you have like limited edition clothing items. I just think it's cool in the regard of like you have control and like you have another layer to kind of help sell that. Because like, you can mark a plain white t-shirt for $50, right? Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean that people will buy it.
Well, why would anyone buy anything less than legendary? It feels like it's just going to raise the average cost of avatar items. Why would I have anything in my shop that's less than legendary?
Because at the end of the day, people don't care, I don't think, when it comes to like styling their avatar. If it's like some of the most popular Fortnite skins are just rare, or like it's just how cool is it? That's really what's important. There's just another layer to like help you sell this item.
Well, I think there's and correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there, at least currently, there isn't any sort of like resale capability for these avatar wearables, right? Like the difference with like Call of Duty or Fortnite or whatever, and these like gun skins or these loot boxes or whatever, right, is even if they're like super ultra rare, these players can then resell or transfer them in some sort of like third party marketplace or something like that, and they themselves can maybe like consider these some sorts of like investments that they're making, and like maybe they make a little bit of money off of them if they get even rarer down the line or something like that, right? So maybe if Meta like Yeah, like maybe if Meta like factors some sort of like resale capability in, it makes a little bit more sense. But then, Ben, what you were getting at is like if you can just game the algorithm by saying like ultra platinum rare everything, then how do you actually have control over how things are priced that way?
Morgul, he's been on. He plays around with this stuff a lot. One of the observations that he made is that he had, two pieces of clothing. They took the same amount of effort to make. He published them at about the same time. They cost the same amount of money. And the only difference between the two of them is that one of them had fancy in the name. And so are we just going to have to rename everything like super fancy, extra special white t-shirt? And then I can keep the price low?
Well, was it that it was like a shirt versus like a whole set though? I thought that was the difference. Being that the set was the same price? No,
it was two. It was a shirt. Yeah, there were like two shirts or two. There was funny. Two of the same thing.
Okay, so everything's ultra fancy. Sir Duke's t-shirt.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Austin's fancy white t-shirt.
Well, the ultra fancy t-shirt probably has a higher digital thread count, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's not confirmed that like that's what's happening there. Like it may have just again, it's arbitrary. Like we don't have visibility on exactly what levers. And I guess like if you're going to automate it, we shouldn't, because then people are just going to game the system. Yeah, I think they're going to do it anyways. But I don't know.
Regardless, I think they should have like limit. Like so you can set like this item only will sell 200. Or this item will only sell like 1,000. Then that kind of helps with that as well.
I agree with that. I think that they have talked about that feature, like a limited runs.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. I think that is something where I'm like, okay, like there are only 2,000 of these. Now it feels like, there's some added value. That being said, as like a content creator, I believe that it's gated behind MHCP right now, but it's not hard to get into MHCP. And presumably, eventually, this feature will be more readily available, and like people can sort of make their own clothes and designs and stuff like that. I don't know. I just don't like the idea of somebody telling me how rare something I'm making should be, or like value, like assigning some arbitrary value to it. Then I want to, we're planning on making some frog onesies for frogs. And we're going to have a couple different tiers. The cheap tier, which will give you, we're going to try integrating this attribute system. And, the one will give you like a +5 to luck. And then we'll have like a more expensive one that gives you +10 to luck. Will look a little cooler and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's going to be like, we only have like the one onesie pattern that sort of fits for what we're planning. I'd love to do like a frog person fantastical avatar for it, but that's not possible right now. And it's just like, okay, so what happens if they all get rated the same rarity, right? It's like now it's like people are like, well, why are you charging $3 extra or whatever for this one if it's not even a higher rarity? And I don't have control over that other than making it even more expensive,
Yeah, there definitely seems to be ranges. Like anything from 2 to 5 is like, premium right now. And then that next step. So there's like ranges that you have to fit in that seems pretty consistent.
If it's price ranges that are determining that, then like, again, I just think it's devaluing the stuff that's actually has a lot of effort put into it.
Well, so you mentioned that like some of the other factors are like if it has attributes attached to it also, right? So like keeping that in mind, like as you guys are building more games and some of this additional player concurrency and capacity sparking new ideas for you guys and that sort of thing, are you factoring in like, okay, I want to give certain players certain attributes, I'm going to do that via these avatar items versus like other in-world interactive elements kind of thing? Like how are you guys making those decisions?
Meta has made it clear that they're really interested in avatar attributes. And insofar as my business is doing things that Meta likes, right? We're going to try them out. We're going to use them. We're going to give it a go. We're going to integrate it. We're going to, do it their way. In reality, it's a rigid system. we're running with it with frogs because like when you're in frogs, you dress like a frog. Like it's thematic. It's part of the experience. But if I have a game, like let's say spin the bottle, right? And it's like have a higher chance for it to not be a blank if you're wearing the special tuxedo. Well, now if I'm not wearing the tuxedo, you're going to go in and everybody's going to be wearing tuxedos. And I think maybe that would be fun for like a week, but I would much rather say, hey, if you buy the tuxedo, you get this bonus. But I'm doing all the code on my back end and it's not associated with whether you're wearing the clothing or not. I just know if you've bought it or not. And they've afforded us a lot of flexibility with player variables and now world variables. And I see a lot of features get released where they're like, like the inventory system is a great that is built into the platform is a great example. Nobody uses it. And it's because it's clunky and the players don't know how to get to it. And it's just better to do it yourself in world.
I mean, I've already thought of a bunch of ways to use it in Spin, honestly. Like for Christmas, I kind of want to make like a Santa outfit and then like periodically it'll just like drop a present and like the first person to open it gets like a random amount of coins or like a fun little effect that comes out of it or
that's fun.
Like a fun sound effect. So just like fun, silly things like that kind of enhance the social experience and make people kind of be more friendly. Like that's kind of the route I'm going to spin with them. So it's just a matter of like, are we going to have time? That's hard trying to gear up everything for the holidays. So but yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty excited about them. And the cool thing too, actually going back to like the rating system is for the quest items that you can reward, you can actually set the rarity on those. Depending, like,
oh, really?
It gives you a tab like that you can go down. It's like, it should take like a month. So it says like for legendary items, it should take like a month of effort to award that item. But like, so they give us our own opportunity there to set that. So that is pretty cool.
Great. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. That's great. I didn't know that.
Well, it seems like that.
I really like the Santa costume idea.
Yeah. That seems very appropriate. Yeah. But definitely. It sounds like that might be like one of the key mechanisms or levers for creators to adjust that rarity, right? It's like, okay, you got to spend X number of hours in this world before you even cross that threshold to even earning that level of rare item.
Yeah. I think they just don't want a whole bunch of like 75 meta credit legendary items, So, because that's what would happen if they just like, as much as we want like that trust and freedom.
The average price of clothing is going to go up because, people are going to want to only sell legendary stuff. It's not a...
I mean, that's a good thing for beta, right? And for us. Because like right now, making clothes isn't like super profitable. Even like selling clothes and spin the bottle. I've only had like 3 items that have like actually like been worth having an artist spend like a day on, So when there's so many clothes out there that are all selling for like 100 credits or less, it's like, I think that would be good. I don't think that everything should be so cheap and that there should just be a flood of clothes. I think that there should be a little bit more thought into it and a little bit more profit for everybody and that people could actually build legit clothing brands within Horizon.
I mean, it's interesting to think about, right? Because we've got, this additional way for creators to make some money on the platform, right? We've also got this expanded player capacity concurrency boosts. It sounds like this might be part of like a larger through line, just to give as much benefit of the doubt to like meta strategy behind all of this, right? It seems like this might be part of a larger effort to empower creators with more tools to make bigger, more interactive worlds by giving them more robust tools or more varied ways to make money on the platform. I think it all just depends on whether there's an appetite from the user base to spend X amount of money on these wearables, right? But is that something that you guys are thinking about, like as these kind of themes are coalescing? It's like, okay, I want to have a dedicated avatar wearable designer on my team for this next game that I'm making, for example.
No way. No, I mean, like, first of all, the population just isn't there yet for Horizon, right? This isn't Roblox. There's not, I think there are more Roblox accounts than there are people on Earth. To your point, like, yes, clothing will become, like, if clothing becomes more expensive on average, it will become more profitable. Look, Meta Horizon is a content creation platform. You like YouTube, like TikTok, and the reality of content creation platforms is that there is generally a small percentage of creators who does very well. You have a group of people who sort of do content creation adjacent work, and I would go so far as to say like Habit XR for all the content that we create and we work on, like most of our work is work for hire. Like that's where we make most of our money. So I would categorize us there, like Austin, Eugene, Jessica from Quiet Creator, Copper Chosen, Hardy West. Like these are all creators who are, ostensibly like doing quite well on the platform, but the vast majority of people are not like really cashing out. And so if you make clothing more competitive, my feeling is, and I think Austin, you're right about it being helping create stronger brands, is that then whoever is able to create the strongest brands will probably do all right or well, particularly as the population of the platform rises, which it is, it is rising. And I think that the people who are currently winning will continue to win. And the people who are trying to be up and coming will have a really hard time, particularly if all they do is clothing. Because when you go to Horizon, it's about the experiences. Like games are a big vertical. Music is a big vertical. Social hangouts are a big vertical. You look at bunkies, look at all the bingo halls that people make. So if you just create a shopping mall, right, or a clothing store, how are you getting people there, right? Like, why should they go there? And even if the average cost of clothes go up, unless you're like the best fashion, virtual fashion designer on the platform, you need something else to bring people through the door. So, I mean, like Eugene does very well because he is very thematic. He sells a lot of clothing. Austin, I'm sure you sell, like compared to other people on the platform, I'm sure you sell a lot of clothing. But for people who don't already have a big following, it's just like, okay, like, are you actually able to make a living off of just avatar clothing design? Probably not anytime soon, even if average prices go up. I think if fantastical avatars become available for people to make, that's where artists are going to really start making money.
Yeah. And I think that's just a population issue because even I couldn't live off of just clothing sales, with
Austin, you could live off of a hatchet and a warm sunshiny day for the rest of your life.
But no, I mean, I think, marketing's an issue regardless, but I think they've released some features to make that easier, like being able to share like your outfits on Instagram and for people to click on it, be able to go to the store. So like people could theoretically like start building their clothing brand now just from their Instagram and like just getting like following all the Horizon players with their accounts and just kind of making cool stuff and just marketing to them. And you can kind of, get outside of the whole like algorithm of the platform and just hijack it straight into Instagram. So like, I think there's still ways, I think actually they have quite a few opportunities to do that. It's just a population of the platform issue.
Well, what's interesting about the avatars is that the avatars are associated with the family of apps. So it's like the avatars are not, even though like the avatar clothing creation and stuff, like you have to buy that through the Meta Horizon app. Like they display on Instagram. People create avatars. They're like Facebook. I should say Meta's Bitmojis, right? You can absolutely. And I know that there are now quests to earn avatar upgrades. You can go to Meta Horizon Worlds. You play Yeet yourself for 15 minutes, and you get a special sticker, right? And other stuff, other interactions. So. I don't think those are surfaced very well, but they exist. If you've created an avatar, and I believe they said there are 1 billion people have created avatars. Avatars are like the one feature that is ready to be cross-platform. Like it is honestly, quite frankly, the most metaverse thing that they've done.
I really want to see somebody make an Instagram page specifically just selling clothes for their avatars.
I was just
I was playing Golf Plus, and like I can have my same clothes. Like there's so much opportunity there, and somebody could really take advantage of that if they just went all in on it. So
yeah, I mean, I wonder how long it'll take until we see someone who's trying to start a clothing brand, build it from the ground up in VR to get almost like a proof of concept to see, is there a market for these designs amongst my target audience, and then use that as a way to like get pre-orders for their clothing, right? And then actually fabricate and make the clothes and fulfill those orders that way. And then they're building a business, they're building a brand, and it all started from these avatar wearables. That could be really cool. On the other hand, it could be someone who makes all of these things, promises a physical version, and then never actually does it, right? So who knows?
At the end of the day, there's opportunity everywhere if you look hard enough, So
exactly, yeah.
I hope to see it.
Well, I mean, I think this has been a really fascinating conversation. It's been great to get your insight, Austin, and hear a little bit about kind of how you are thinking about these things when it comes to building your games and your experiences. Before we wrap here, is there anything you've got in the works that you want to point people towards or you want to highlight and showcase?
Just play Kart Clash when you see this. We're really happy about it, really excited about it. And look, it's my baby right now. I got so much love for it, and so does my team. Shout out Johnny, Emitron, Rexrod, Omni Parker, Squirt Reynolds. We've all worked so hard on it. Benjamin hired a very, very talented programmer who I've had the pleasure of getting to do the UI on the game as well. I mean, just absolutely fantastic work from everybody. We're really, really excited for it. So
best of luck in the competition also. And, Ben, before we
wrap up.
No, oh, right. Sorry. No, not best of luck.
Actually, we're different categories. We can say good luck. Good luck.
Awesome. Ben, anything coming down the pipeline on the Habit XR front?
Frogs is out there, but, so go play that. We have a very aggressive live ops plan. Expect large updates every other week for the foreseeable future. Minor updates as we get them done.
And yeah, for more episodes of the Worlds Beyond podcast, subscribe to us on, your podcast streaming platform of choice, on YouTube, all that good stuff. Follow us on social media, and we hope to have you on the next episode. Thanks for watching and listening.
Cheers.
Cheers.